Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I am here at City Hall in Calexico. I'm here with our new city manager, Miss Esperanza Colio Warren. Thank you for taking some time and talking to us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm just going to be upfront with you. I'm kind of nervous. This is the first time that I ever do this, so bear with me, please.
Yeah, no worries. I was reading the one of the newspapers, and the headline said the first Mexican female city manager. Is it the first female or just Mexican female?
It's the second female. Ms. Marlene Best was the first city manager, woman. I am the second one, but I'm the first Mexican being in this position.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, yes. I wasn't too sure if it was separate or just together as a Mexican female city manager. I was doing some research and I ran into that video you made for the SDSU alumni.
Yes.
And I was kind of amazed of your story of how you got to where you are now. Can you tell us a little bit about I know you don't have to go into detail because I was also reading an article where it says it's kind of a sensitive
subject.
Yeah, because it deals with your parents and losing them, and but it's a story that I feel that if people haven't heard it or read about it, I think it's really something that it's worth hearing.
Yes. So I was born in Mexicali, went college in Mexicali for an accounting. And I work as an accountant for the Tourism Convention Bureau, Comités Turismo y Convenciones for the municipality of Mexicali. I worked there 7 years and a half before I moved to the United States. My parents both died young. And when I moved to the United States, I had to start all over again by learning a new language and going back to college. The first idea was just to learn the language so that I can communicate with the community. I remember, because I moved directly from Mexicali to El Centro, and I remember getting to one store and I wasn't able to communicate with the person. I didn't know what the person was asking me for. So I feel very uncomfortable feeling I already went to college. I already went to work. I was an accountant, and all of a sudden, in a new country with no language skills. So I feel kind of awkward. And so what I decided is that wasn't going to be my case. So I decided to start taking English as a second language. I was 31 years old already. So it was difficult for me to start at that age to learn a new language. I was very discouraged by many because many at that age, they just give up. It's hard.
Yeah.
But this country has been giving me so many opportunities. When I began taking the classes, there were people around me, professors, classmates, counselors. They were all guiding me through the right process to get scholarships so that I can continue taking my classes. So with that, I can tell you that I did all my undergraduate and my graduate with scholarships. I never had to pay for it. I think this is a country with great opportunities, and I took advantage of those opportunities, and I'm paying back this country with work every day, work beyond my schedule to give up something to the community. It's a sad story because my parents didn't get to see that. They died young. They died 3 months away from each other, apart from each other. So it was difficult at that time. My mom never went to college. She didn't go to junior high school. She only finished elementary school. Mm-hmm. My dad decided not to continue his career as a doctor. So he said he quit school and just went to San Francisco to be happy. He regretted it very much, and he became a foreman in the fields. But he was always encouraging me to go to college. Very protective, both of them. And I'm happy what I am, happy that I finished college. I'm first generation in my family. But I didn't want this first generation to end there. I'm being encouraging I only have one son. And my nephews and my nieces, they all have gone to college now. Now the sad part is my sisters, it's called my nephews and nieces, that they have no excuses to get bad grades because if your aunt did it, you had to do it too.
Yeah.
So poor guys, I just feel sorry for them. But it's gratifying to see that they are now like getting master's degree. My nephews and nieces, and one of them is a doctor already. So it's great. It's a great feeling. Mm-hmm. It was challenging. It's still challenging some days. Then I went to work for the city of El Centro, gave me the first opportunity to do my internship, and I ended up working for them as a hotline for waste management. So that was my second job. My first job was with San Diego UCSD with a program that is called College Making It Happen. It was through CALSO program. It's a special program to encourage students to continue their higher education. And so I was doing the Spanish speaking presentations. And so I was having two jobs at the same time. And then I went to work for the County of Imperial. And that's what I think my real career began, because I began learning grants. And I went to 5 different positions at the county, all the way to the deputy CEO for the County of Imperial, which I'm grateful for the opportunities. The county was always great with me in the sense of providing me the tools, the opportunities to apply. The board of supervisors listening to me when I would bring funding opportunities and new programs to alleviate the distress of the families and during emergencies. The departments that I work with, I'm grateful for my coworkers and all of them for working with me and understanding sometimes that I will request information like late at night or early in the morning, too early. But grant writing is all about teamwork. And I couldn't have done it by myself. I have a team that work with me all the time to put together those grants. And I had a department as well that also work with me. So I cannot take credit for something that is a team effort.
That position earned you a nickname, right?
The Golden Goose. Yes, the fire chief, Chief Estrada, he called me the Golden Goose. There were some other nicknames were not very appealing, but it was all meant in good faith. Yeah. They were just talking the money lady, for example. They will see me and they will not even remember my name. Oh, you the money lady. So it was kind of interesting, but I feel grateful that all those opportunities were open to me. I get to meet very low-income families, people that were losing their homes during earthquakes, fires. And I think that has built my career. And I want to say all of those individuals built my career without me knowing. It got into my heart, the passion for bringing programs that would assist those less privileged. I honestly feel privileged and blessed for the opportunities. We all have opportunities in life sometimes, but sometimes we don't see it. And sometimes we are afraid to take the opportunities. And the fear holds us back and we never get to the place that we want to be. And so for me, this has been my experience. And every step that I have taken in my career, there was always fear. Like, for example, when I moved from Mexicali, being the office administrator and the accountant for Comunidad de Turismo y Convenciones, it was a big step to drop a job that was well paid, secure, to drop everything and just move to the United States with nothing in your hands. And so if my fear would hold me back, I would never be able to experience what I'm experiencing today. So in every step, it has been a sense of fear, but a sense of willingness too, and a sense of hope, which is my name, by the way.
Yeah.
And I want to say I have to thank my mom for that. for putting me that name, because I think she, without knowing, gave me that strength to make some decisions.
Yeah, and you know, that video I saw, you talked about how your mom had this fear of you, or women in general not really having a, you know, kind of like a future, because I mean, old traditions were like the women stay at home and all they do is cook and clean.
Just to give you an idea, my mom never worked. She was sent to a convent to learn how to become a good wife.
Oh, wow.
That was the expectation. So when my grandmother told me that, my mom actually cried when I was born, because she said, another woman that comes to serve men, women have no rights in this world. They have no choice but to be a housewife. And she said, but I want my daughter to break that chain. And that's why she named me Esperanza, because that was her hope. My sisters decided to be housewife, which is nothing wrong with that. They have one of them has 5 kids. So I think I will have done the same thing with so many children.
Yeah.
But it was a decision that they made on their own. Nobody forced them. My mom was forced to it. My grandmother and my great-grandmother as well. They didn't have a choice. So I chose to be a professional since I was young. I don't know why. It just happened. Since I was a child, I always wanted to go to school. I love going to school, go to find a job. I was working very young. And working is not a punishment. My mom used to see it as a punishment. Oh, you're going to have to work all your life, and like it was a punishment. But I didn't see it as a punishment. I don't see it as a punishment today. I see it as a blessing. I had the opportunity to work, and I'm being blessed for that. So I just wish that she will be alive to see it, but she's not. Now my dad. So it's just as the saddest part. But I think my brothers and sisters always see it too, and they're happy as well. And they think I'm brave. I don't call it brave. Sometimes I think I'm crazy, but that's okay. They see it as a brave thing. But I love what I do. I love every single step that I have taken. There's always a fear, but it's never a hesitation.
Yeah. I mean, having so much success at the county, what made you decide to apply for this job? Especially, I mean, here in Calexico, we have this.
I know everybody says only in Calexico, but I have to tell you this. How do I explain this? So there was a point in which in the county when there was earthquakes, floods, or fires, it's not that I was told you need to go and help the families. No, it's something that I really wanted to do it, and I take a step to do it because the need was there. So I want to say the same thing for Calexico. I was, and somebody told me to apply twice before, but I didn't feel I was ready. I think that I needed to learn more things before to move to this level. Being a city manager it's a lot of responsibility. You're talking about administrating a whole city, different departments. It's not that easy. And I'm not saying I'm going to be successful. I will say that I will do my best with the knowledge that I have in different areas to make it a success. And it's all I can say right now. It's only 2 weeks for me being in the job. I will not say that I know everything because I'm not. But I see the employees, the department heads, the community trying to make this work, the city council as well, trying to make something good for the city. And I want to take that challenge. And I hope that I will succeed for the time that I will be here. I don't know if that time is going to be 1, 2, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? But in all the time, my plan is to work with all those groups that have an interest in this city to make it a success. I'm not going to look back and say, this is what's done before this way. No, I'm just going to look what is up in front of me and in the future to see if I'm making a slight changes will work. It might not work, but I have to try. And I'm not talking big changes. I'm talking about small changes, maybe protocols. Maybe we have to change our priorities. Maybe we have to begin searching for more funding. We don't know that. And it's until I'm doing my assessment, barely making my assessment to the city. And once that I have all the pieces of the puzzle together, then I'll figure out what is the best way to move forward in the future and to make it a success. It is a challenge, but like I said before, you cannot be afraid of the challenges. Because in order to be successful, you have to take challenges sometimes. Success doesn't come just by default. Success is something that you fight for it, that you work for it. And that's what I'm here for it. This is not just a job, it's a profession. And I enjoy working. For those who know me, they'll know I love working. And my son is in finished college. He moved away, so I don't have nothing else but to work, and I enjoy it.
Obviously, at the county, you were in charge of writing grants.
Yes.
Here in the city, where you're the city manager, which entitles a lot of things.
Yes.
Do you think that you'll try to continue with, the success you had at the county with writing grants? Bring that.
Definitely. The city is in much need of funding and programs available for the community, the residents in the city of Calexico. So my goal is the following. First, there are some pending items that we need to clear with the states, so that way the doors will be open for us to start submitting many applications. Those applications will bring, for example, housing programs that are not available right now, mobile home parks, facilities, fire stations, equipment that we need. And so that way, by bringing grants to the city, it will take a little weight off the general fund. And so that's the idea. But we need to start building a team among the departments like Public Works, Community and Economic Development, Planning Department, Fire Department, Police Department. Each one of those agencies have a potential units in the government that they can apply for funding for grants to bring equipment that they need at the fire station, like the Jaws Alive or the thermal image cameras, things like that, an engine, for example. But we don't have that luxury right now because we have to first do some homework in-house. But more important also, we need to build capacity in the city. And when I'm saying capacity, I'm talking about making the departments one or two elements in each department a grant writer. And grant writing is not difficult. Trust me, everybody is afraid of grant writing, but it's not difficult. I learned it, and I don't think I'm that smart. I just think I follow the rules. I just read and follow the instructions. That's essentially what I do. So it's nothing. A lot of people, it's nothing difficult. A lot of people, that's grant writing. And I know once that they learn how to do it, they're going to love it because they're going to be able to see what they can bring by putting together those grant applications.
Yeah.
And I want to inject that passion that I have for grant writing to the departments and to the city.
Especially, I feel that, because I work for the school district.
Yes.
So, we get a lot of funding because of our demographics. So
yes.
I feel that, we are missing a lot. We're missing, as a city, missing out on a lot of funding or grant funding because of maybe there's not people who are dedicated to writing the grants. Because, for demographic, we should be be qualifying for a lot of stuff at this.
And we have all those numbers. We have the need. We have special groups that are in need of services. We have the demographics. But more important, we have a border that we share with Mexicali. And years ago, we did a survey to find out how many people were crossing the border. We're talking about 52,000 people crossing the border every day.
Wow.
Now, think about this. So let's say, just for the sake of the conversation, half of them are crossing this port of entry, which is the west port of entry. Imagine 25,000 cars driving through Imperial. How much damage can they cause to the payment on Imperial? We also get revenue from them through taxes, right? Because they purchase items, but some others, they're just passing by through the city. Yeah. Nobody brings us money for those roads that are being crossed and used by people that are not even staying in the city. This is a passing by for many to go to El Centro, to go to Los Angeles, to go other places. So we have to think about those things that are important for a city to recover some of those expenses that we incur by having these items available for the community. There is accumulation of trash, and I'm not saying they're all part of it. It's the whole movement of the city. Now, we also have the community of farm workers. We rely on the farm workers. We have a whole different world at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're crossing the border, especially in the winter. We have to find out ways to accommodate that population because they work for us. They come every day, cross the border early in the morning to come to work. And so we need to create the environment for them to be able to cross the border, being safe, and provide some services to them as well. Because they bring services to us. They bring food to our table as well.
Yeah. And most of them buy groceries before they go back to their homes in Mexicali, and
exactly,
it's revenue that money that they're spending here in their city.
Yes, that is correct.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption, but I want to take this time and thank my sponsors. I want to thank my friends Camilo, Jake, Eric Ortega. I want to thank Eddie Lopez from Roots Creative, Ms. Norma Galindo, IID Director representing Division 5 and serving the entire Imperial Valley. Will Torres from Valley Sports Network, your Imperial Valley source for sports. I want to thank Sergio's Tacos and Hotdogs. With 8 years of experience serving the Imperial, San Diego, and Yuma counties with Mexicali-style hot dogs and taquizas, contact Sergio at 760-562-0057 or look for Sergio Tacos and Hotdogs on Facebook. I want to thank Eric Reyes from Los Amigos de la Comunidad, empowering communities together. Finally, I want to thank David Gastelum. If you're thinking of buying or selling a home in the Imperial or San Diego counties, make sure you contact David. He's not only a realtor, but an investor with over 20 years of experience, and he'll teach you along the way in one of the most important investments of your life. Contact David at 760-235-9576 or look for David Gastelum on Facebook. All right, guys. Well, now back to the show. What was I gonna ask you? You worked in Mexicali for a long time, and especially in tourism.
Yes.
How a lot of us know that Mexicali is really important to us because, like you said, there's 25,000 people. I mean, just for the sake of it,
yes,
25,000 people that might cross on a daily basis. And how do we make sure that some of those people are, coming to Calexico to spend, some of their money for groceries, clothes, everyday items? How do we make them feel welcome,
comfortable, and welcome? It's interesting. That was a similar question that I was asked during my interview with the city of Calexico. And one of the things that I mentioned is we have to create the environment for them to feel welcome. Because if they feel some sort of rejection or obstruction, most likely they're going to stop coming, at least from this port of entry. But if we create that environment in which they feel safe, welcome to purchase items in Calexico, I think that's the big token for us. And one of the ideas, and I had this discussion with Mr. Pacheco. He was the city council back in, I want to say somewhere in the 2015 or 16. I don't remember quite well.
I think it was, I think 2016 was when he got elected, and he ran for re-election 2020, I think.
So at that time, I was invited to have a discussion with him, and my supervisor at that time was John Renison. And they asked me, what would you do to enhance the downtown. And one of the ideas that I mentioned that time, it was to close the first street of the first street in Calexico coming from Mexicali. And the reason why I say that is because that will create an environment for those residents to feel safe, at least in that entrance, walking on the streets, but also to bring the amenities that will keep those individuals happy for a few hours during the day. Like, for example, if you were to have places to eat, stores that will bring the attention of the young population, specific stores for them, as a Ross for the ladies or Marshalls for the ladies, another shop for men that would like to have and buy things for themselves, markets. When you do that combination of stores, that will bring, it's like a one-stop shop for everybody. So they don't need to even cross the border in car. They can just come and have a day for the day, and they can have lunch, and they can walk around the street feeling safe. And so that was my approach at that time. And I will stand by with that approach because I think it's an opportunity. Like I say, it was a long time ago, and I believe the city adopted later on a map or something similar that to do a specific type of project. Perhaps someone else also had that idea. I don't know, but that was what I shared with them at that time. And Mr. Pacheco will know better. He was the one who invited us.
Yeah, and I believe that was one of the plans that they had brought up, where they would close, I think, part of Rockwood and First Street. I believe that was the plan. Yeah, because I mean, you mentioned, bringing in like the younger population. I mean, I grew up here in Calexico. I got here when I think I was 8 years old. So I remember, going down to downtown and, doing most of my shopping there.
Yes.
Or just, if we would go across to Mexicali and get a haircut, on our way back, we would, browse around the stores and maybe get something.
Yes.
But I mean, and now it doesn't happen anymore. Like,
no, it's not. And like, for example, I remember when my son was like 19 years old, if we will go to San Diego, he will only go as long as I stop in a place when there was a shopping store for me and a shopping store for him, Game Boys. If he was all about a game shop and Game Boys and all that stuff. So I thought, well, that will makes it sell. So I will have a Marshalls next to a GameStop. And then we will stop by and have lunch on the way back. So we didn't have to stop to many shopping centers. We will have to stop in one place or two at the most, and we're done. And so that's one of the ideas that I have, to bring that environment to the community so they can really want to like explore the idea of come to Calexico once a week at least, and that will make our revenue, to be honest.
And like you said, like a lot of people don't want to cross in their cars because could be an hour or 2 hour lines, and
insurance too. They have to pay insurance also to come to cross the car as well.
Yeah.
Yes. And
no, go ahead.
Just no, go ahead.
Oh, and because I remember like some of my cousins that live in Mexicali would, jump on the camion and, get dropped off at the border and then crosswalk and then go back and take the bus back to their house. So
yes, I think it's the most convenient way. If I go to San Diego, sometimes to go to the game, I just drop my car somewhere and get the train, because it's easier, because I don't have to park my car far away from the game and everything. So you're gonna have to find out ways to get closer to the place that you want. And so that's kind of like the ambition for the downtown, to revive the downtown. But it's going to take a lot of work from all of us, from the community members, from the business community, from the city council, from the city employees, I'm sorry. It's going to be a team effort. It's not going to be just one person. I'm just a worker. Like any other of the workers I'm just here to organize the workers. That's it. But I work the pleasure of the city council. I provide my recommendations based on my experience and the experience of the department heads, because I have to rely on the expertise as well to make the approaches that we need in order to make it work. So that's basically my job.
Yeah, and the last meeting, and then you don't have to answer this question, but I just want to bring it up to you. Last meeting, I was up late watching it because I couldn't come by, but I was watching it up late.
Yes.
And there seems to be like division between pretty much everybody now.
Yes.
It's kind of bled onto everybody. How do we unite not only the council but the Calexicans who are kind of like on this back and forth? I mean, last meeting you could tell like there was somebody will go up and say something and then somebody will rebuttal to them, and that's kind of how the last meeting went.
Yes.
Went by.
One of the beauties of my position is that it's totally apolitical, meaning I cannot be a political person and take sides. I work for the 5 members equally. Each one of them has a vote for my position. So my job is to understand what they want, their goals and objectives. I cannot intervene on whether or not they divide it or not. My job is to provide the same information to the 5 of them. When we go to the meetings, to listen to them and to listen their agendas. Some of them are focusing more on parks, while others in downtown, while others in law enforcement. So that's what the beauty of having a city council, because everybody has more or less an expertise in certain areas. And so that helps me to kind of like look into the future, what they really want all together as a group. Mm. Yes, perhaps it's divided, but that's not going to happen forever. I think they're going to find out a way to make their own decision. I cannot really get involved in that. It's their decision. My job is to treat them well and the same way, fair to everybody. Mm-hmm. And as for the residents, I'm barely getting to know the community, so I don't know who the players are. But I just hope they all come with the same consensus. They want the best for the city. Mm-hmm. And so I know that sometimes it's hard to deliver the message. We have it in our minds, but sometimes to make the other person understand what we want, we're not very good communicators sometimes. And so I think that's what the problem lies, is communication or misunderstanding. And once that we get through that those obstacles, then I think we'll be moving forward for the city. I'm sure they all mean well in their own way. It's just the level of the message. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, because growing up here in Calexico, I grew up in I don't know if you've heard of Las Pichoneras.
No,
it's the projects, and they're if you're going down Rockwood, there's a building with a Christ and a Virgin Mary on the side.
Okay.
So I grew up in those projects.
Oh, okay.
So growing up, I always felt like I was part of Calexico, but part of that Calexico, not part of
the whole Calexico. Yes.
But growing up, I kind of understand how you have to compromise. Mm-hmm. I might have been part of that Calexico, but doesn't mean that the other part of Calexico didn't want the best for Calexico. Maybe they sometimes you feel that they're looking out for themselves more than they are for you. Mm-hmm. But I feel that at the end of the day, now as an adult, as somebody that's 40 years old with 2 kids, a job, a mortgage, you kind of understand the big picture, where it's if it's the merchants or people that own businesses, they obviously they're looking out obviously for the businesses, but at the same time we got to look out for them as well, because they bring revenue for the city.
Exactly.
And there's people that are pillars in Calexico that grew up here, they have generations here, so they obviously also have not an agenda, but they also have a mentality as to what's best for Calexico. And it might be something that not everybody approves of, but at the end of the day, they mean well for Calexico.
No, they all mean well. Yeah. I noticed that because I have the opportunity to talk to each one of them separately, and I can see their point of view, and I can see each one of my city council members. They all want the best for the city. Mm-hmm. Trust me, it's nothing against each other. I think they have a different vision. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, it's the same vision for the city. They all want the best for the city. And I'm sure the businesses, they want to see Calexico booming like it was booming in the 2000s, for example. The residents, and when they feel comfortable walking on the street, having more policing, patrolling, feeling comfortable in the city and secure. So that's what we want to bring back the city. And each one of those groups, they have approached me. They all have shared the same sentiment. We want the old Calexico back because they love Calexico. And I think that's the beauty, that they have love for this city. And that's perhaps the key to bring them all together. And I'm not saying I'm going to be the one who's going to bring them together. I hope that I can contribute in a small portion to do that. I think on their own, they're going to figure out eventually what's the best way to get together.
Yeah, and I feel that, I think, because, for example, myself, I probably could have gone to El Centro or Imperial to live. I mean, work, I work here in Calexico, this is where I work. But to live, I probably could have gone somewhere else. But my wife knows that, I'm never going to leave Calexico.
Yes.
And it's sometimes it's frustrating because, and I was going to ask you if you had heard the saying of only in Calexico.
Yes, that's okay.
But you brought it up earlier. But it's sometimes it's frustrating because you keep hearing that only in Calexico, but
I don't think it's only on Calexico. If you start reviewing the meetings in all the cities in California and other places, it's everywhere. So
I mean,
see Calexico, to judge just Calexico, that's not fair.
I think it's more of when it comes to the Imperial Valley.
Okay.
It's only in Calexico that some of the things happen.
But Calexicans are unique. They're next to the border.
Yeah.
It's a very unique place to be. This city has so much potential for being next to the border. And we want to explore that potential to make it work. And I say we, all of us from the city council, from the workers, from the business team, from the citizens, everybody. That's what matters to us, being able to see the vision. And I just hope that I can be part of it. I just hope to stay a while over here so I can see if we all work together. I don't know.
There's been a shortage of staff, like pretty much everywhere. I mean, recently we got a planning director with Lisa Thailand. We're missing a police chief.
Finance department, public works, an engineer, community and economic development. So we have like 5 positions that are not filled.
Yeah, like right now, what would be the in your eyes? What would be the number one position you would love to fill?
For all the improvements that are coming our way and the issues, I think police and public works are the major issues. We have staff, and I want to acknowledge that. And the other departments from public works and finance departments, we don't have no one in community and economic development. But those individuals that are taking the step, doing the job on their own, they're so brave. They're such a hard worker people that they just want to make it happen. They don't have a director for months, and they're still working every day trying to make it happen. Public works is in the same boat. And I haven't heard them complaining at all. And that's a plus for me, having those kind of individuals willing to make an effort to make it work for the city. And I acknowledge in that, there are some members in this city that really want to make it work. They're not crying because they're working harder. And sometimes I can see them working 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I'm just grateful that I have such a great people to work with. I know they're short staff, and I will try to do as much as possible to bring in more resources. But from the workers on the streets, from the workers on the water plant, on the sewer plant, the workers on the parks that are part-timers, they are hard-working people. They really want to stay in the city. They have been there forever. And I can only acknowledge how hard they work. And I hope that we can bring more revenue so they can make a better living, because they're not making a great living with the salary. Some of them are part-time workers, so they don't really have a full-time job with the city, but they're still working every day. They don't hesitate and they don't give up. And so for me, that's what I said. When people say only in Calexico, it's not totally a fair statement, because they have to be the side of the workers. The fire stations working understaffed, the police department working with less cops. They're trying to make it happen. And I want to make sure that everybody acknowledges that the staff really want to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can tell, I mean, because it's been a while since, we've seen less staff here in Calexico. And
yes.
And yeah, I mean, like you said, they're always working. I don't think from the people that I know that work for the city, I don't think I've ever heard them complain of the amount of work that they have.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, it's commendable that they, especially our fire department, they're almost every night you see a post where there's a building that's burning, or
yes,
and they're nonstop, and yeah, they're understaffed as well. So
they're understaffed. The police department is understaffed, and they're still doing it, trying every day. And so it's commendable for them. So I feel very grateful to have the opportunity to come to the city and help in any way that I can. That's ultimately my goal. It's not just the city. I want to see the change as well. I want to see the improvements. But it's not going to be just me. It's going to be a combination of all of us together.
Yeah. Is there anything that, the prior city manager left pending that you think might see fruition in the next?
I think every city manager that has been in the city has their own struggles. They have their own expertise. There are many items pending. I don't think they left those items pending because they wanted to leave them. Perhaps it was not part of the expertise that they have. And so my job is going to work on the things that I know, and the things that I don't know, I will have to find out support, whether it's through consulting services, through new department heads coming on board with us, that they're going to bring their own expertise. That's what I'm going to rely on it, to bring those missing pieces so that we can put together the city. I'm not here to judge any of the other city managers because I think each one of them, they have different struggles at a certain point in their management. Perhaps I'm not going to even be halfway of what they did when they were working. But I'm definitely going to try my best to make it work.
Yeah, for sure. We're at almost 45 minutes. When we were talking before we recorded, I did want to, I mentioned that, I want to have this conversation just so that you feel comfortable with me.
Yes.
Because with prior city managers, I did tell them, and David Dale did invite me a couple of times, and
yes,
we gave up a bit to the community. Miguel was a little bit more, and I don't mean this in a bad way. He's a little bit more, he's not kind of like a public person. He's like he works and he's like keeps to himself. Yes. But if you feel that you would want to come back and share anything else with the community, I'm here for the city, here for you. And a lot of people, when I was interviewing the candidates for the last election, people were asking me, how much do you charge? I'm like, is this for free? I do it just to inform the community. Yes. That's my goal, is to inform the community. And if I can help you inform the community in any way, shape, or form,
yes,
I'm here for you in the city. So
we definitely want you back, especially when we have 3 or 4 programs that we want to bring to the community. We want people to know about the programs, the upcoming programs that are going to be available. Okay. We're definitely going to invite you because we want people to know, spread the word. We're working in Calexico, we're bringing new programs, or we're reviving the programs that were dead for a while for whatever reason. And so we want to make sure that the community is informed.
Okay. And like I said, we're at 45 minutes. Anything else that I didn't ask you or we didn't talk about that you would?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity. I want, hopefully, the people from Calexico listens to this
Podcast.
Program. And I just want to invite them to participate with us. We want to bring the best for the city.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't want to take more of your time because I know you're really busy. But thank you again for coming on and having me over. I know, I just want to mention this because, and it's not, you sound like, you sound really nice, but I know that you pack a punch, como, you're stirring where you need to, and just so that people know that,
Oh no! Don't take me wrong. Just because I sound nice, I'm not gonna be mean. I can sometimes be mean.
You mean business?
I mean business oriented. Yes, I have to set the rules sometimes, and that's the expectation. So I had to act on it. And sometimes we have to remember, you don't have to yell and scream to make your point. You can still make your point with words. That's it. That's all it takes. I don't want to give a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you once again. Thank you guys for listening or watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
Peace.